Hello everyone, Yanette here from Lucid Pen, and today I'm going to show you how to make sticky notes on Procreate. So the first thing we want to do is create a new layer, and we want to go here to our options, and we're going to go to Canvas, and we're actually going to use a drawing guide. This is going to help us get some nice straight lines for our sticky note shapes. And we can edit the drawing guide. You can make the grid size larger. In fact, you can make it as large as you want your sticky notes to be. So that'll be real simple for you to trace those lines. So that's what I'm going to do here. Okay. And now we're just going to go ahead and draw a square. Try to stay as much on the lines as possible. However, try not to lift up your pencil. So that way we can go ahead and use the shape options of Procreate. So we're going to go ahead and edit the shape, and we're going to go ahead and make a nice perfect square. And that is it. Pretty simple. So let's just go ahead and fill that in. Okay. And what we're going to do is duplicate this layer. The top layer is going to be our actual sticky note with whatever color you want. And then the second layer is going to be our drop shadow. So let me go ahead and change the color of this sticky note. So we know the difference here. So this top one, we're not really going to mess with it, but the bottom one is the one that we're going to play around with. So the first thing you want to do is blur it, and I like to go about 12 or so. There we go. And then the second thing that you want to do here is we're going to go over here to this distort option, and we're going to go ahead and take the magnetics off because we're going to mess around with the shape and we don't want it to try to snap into place. So the first thing I want to do is take one of these top corners and kind of hide it. You know, sticky notes are sticky at the top, so those are going to be closer to the paper and therefore shouldn't have as much of a shadow as you would want it to in the bottom, where it kind of lifts up sometimes and gets creases and such. So we'll do the same thing to this side, bring it in just a little bit. And there's a couple of options that you can do for the bottom. Let's bring this out a little, and let's bring this other corner out just a little bit. Now don't worry too much about the shading and the color of it. It's very thick right now. We can always change the opacity. You want to concern yourself more with the shape of the shadow. Okay, and then what we want to do here is I'm going to go to warp, and I'm going to tuck this in just a little bit so that the only thing that's sticking out are my corners. Okay, and that's it. And then we can go here and change the opacity, so make it so it's not so dark. 50% is good. And if you don't like it, you can always go back and alter it just a little bit more. Let's go back to distort. We can bring that out just a little bit, so it looks like the edges are being lifted up off the paper. Okay, see, you can change the warp a little bit. Just pull those lines down. And there you have it. That's one example. We can go ahead and duplicate this, and let's go ahead and let's group these real quick. Let's go ahead and make another one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change this one to black again. Fill that in black, so that's going to be our drop shadow. And let's try another shadow variation. So we'll blur it again. Okay, and then we will go back to distort, and this time what we're going to do is have the center being lifted up a little bit. So once again, we'll go ahead and bring the top in a little bit because we don't want too much of a drop shadow up at the top, since that's where our sticky part goes, usually where we put a washi tape, so it actually looks like it's stuck to the paper. And then for this one, what we're going to do, I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Okay, and we're going to warp it. This time we're going to pull that center portion down. Okay, if you want to tuck these sides in a little bit, let's tuck this one back in. And there we have it. Now we can just go ahead and change the opacity until you feel comfortable with it. And there you go, another sticky note. Okay, let's go ahead and group these so that way we can move them around and you can see them both. Let's move this one. Oh. Make sure that when you're trying to move it, you go back to freeform or you're going to lose your shape. Okay, so there you go. It is really simple. Just play around with the shading or with the shadows, and you can have a variety of different options for sticky notes here. I'll show you one more. Let's go ahead and hide these. Don't need that one, that was the old drop shadow, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I'm going to make this black again. So we have our shadow again down at the bottom. We're going to blur it. Okay, and for this one we're just going to do one corner. So let's reset that, because what I want to do is distort, take off the magnetics. Okay, this one's going to have this corner kind of sticking out some. Okay, again, you can warp it, play around with the shadows, bring some in, pull it out, totally up to you. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and lower the opacity again so the color is not so intense. And that is pretty much it. We can go ahead and take our drawing guides off again, and there we have all of our sticky notes. Let's see, let's go. Let's make sure we're in freeform when we're moving those. And there you are. I hope you guys enjoyed this simple tutorial and that you have fun making sticky notes for your planners. Bye.